Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to today's Stats Café. It's a pleasure to have you all here as we gather to discuss an important step in our shared commitment to improving civil registration and vital statistics systems across Asia and the Pacific. So today's session is focusing on the 2025 review of progress in implementing the Regional Action Framework on CRVS in Asia and the Pacific. And this review really marks a critical milestone as we assess how far we've come since the adoption of the framework and identify the areas where continued efforts are necessary. So as you all know, the framework really provides a solid foundation for our work, and it's really been guiding the work that we've been doing, setting up goals, targets, and action areas. And these are what shape our collective and individual efforts. So the questionnaire that we're discussing today, it's more than just a formality. It's really a vital tool that will allow us to capture the progress made in countries and highlight successes, and again, pinpoint challenges that need further attention. So we're honoured to have representatives from Armenia who will share their country's experience in completing the questionnaire. Their insights will be invaluable for all of us as we work to ensure accurate and comprehensive reporting. And I'd like to also use this opportunity to thank and recognise Armenia for so quickly and efficiently filling in the questionnaire, way ahead of the deadline, and therefore also allowing us to use and share their experience. So kudos to you. We're also pleased to have our colleagues from ESCAP who will guide us through the technical aspects of the questionnaire and offering their expertise to help navigate any challenges that might be encountered. So I look forward to a productive and engaging session today. I hope we can learn from each other's experiences, share our experiences, and strengthen our collective efforts to enhance CRVS systems across Asia and the Pacific. I should point out that this is actually the first in a series on the 2020
into a regional synthesis
session on September 2nd. So we'd be happy if you join us again, and you're also welcome to bring any questions or comments which may arise following the Stats Café if you don't have the opportunity to raise them here today. So thank you once again for joining us, and I look forward to our fruitful discussions. And without further ado, I'll hand over to our moderator, my colleague, Roth.
Thank you so much, Petra, and I'd like to echo Petra's word in thanking our colleague Marina, Diana, and the team from Armenia for your wonderful work and completing the questionnaire and sending it well ahead of time. It's very impressive, I must say, and it's congratulations as well to you, and we're thankful that you are able to share your experience today. And of course, we'll hear from Marina soon enough. I would like to take this opportunity to share a little bit on the questionnaire itself, the process, the timeline, and some frequently asked questions on the questionnaire itself. I won't go through all of the slides in detail, but this is just to give a background. The review itself stems from the need to make sure that we're analyzing and assessing whether we've actually realized our vision, and that by 2024, everyone in the region will benefit from universal and responsive CRVS systems. And based on the declaration, the Minister declaration, we're planning on having a couple of reviews, and we've completed the baseline already and the midterm as well, right on time, and we're on time to completing the 2025 review as well. And this questionnaire is key in helping us to completing the review, and you'll see why it's important in a fair bit. So in more detail, why are we doing this review? As mentioned previously, it's to monitor progress since the adoption of since the inauguration, I should say, of the CRVS decade in 2014. Countries have been making good progress in improving their CRVS system. but how far they've come is the question, and this review will aim to answer that. It will also provide a basis for decision making at the third ministerial conference in June 2025 as well, where ministers and heads of government will come together to not only celebrate progress, but also to identify areas where we need to strengthen moving forward, and also to make a decision on the future of regional CRVS improvement in Asia and Pacific. The review will also provide key insights to development partners as well, and help them better design support, better design activities that they can offer to countries, and to ensure that there's a smooth working arrangement between development partners and government, the government in the regions as well. And finally, of course, the review allow us to provide accurate and timely data for the 2030 agenda, to make sure that we're on track to realize this goal by 2030. So how does the review work? So essentially, we're using a questionnaire approach, and we've sent, as Petra mentioned earlier, we sent the questionnaire way back in June, and countries in the region have until 15 September 2024 to complete the questionnaire and return to ESCAP. And the questionnaire focus on, of course, the goals stated under the regional action framework, which is universal registration, legal documentation for all, and accurate, complete, and timely production and dissemination of vital statistics. What we will do after receiving the questionnaire is that we will, of course, validate the data provided with the countries, and that's going to take a little bit of time. Once that's done, we're going to compile all the findings into a regional synthesis report or regional review report, which will be definitions and so on. Of course, the key government and ministers at and senior government officials at the 2025 ministerial conference as well. And as mentioned here on the slide, one of the key proposal that we're going to highlight at the ministerial conference is to extend the decade until 2030 to align with the 2030 agenda, and the key document that will provide the rationale for that is the 2025 review, which will heavily use the findings from the questionnaires. So these are the key elements in the questionnaire. We have guidance, definitions, and so on. Of course, the key cause of death registration that will cover in areas cause of death registration and vital statistics and so on. We also have a couple of tabs on implementation steps, which are highlighted in the regional action framework, and we drawn from the regional action framework again for some key action area. And what I would like to do is to actually show you the questionnaire, to walk through what the questionnaire looks like a bit, so that you have a better idea. And these questionnaires have, as mentioned previously, sent to the national focal points, the seat of government, for their help in completing the questionnaire, because from the regional action, it's not going to be completed by one entity, as our colleague in Armenia will share with you shortly. So just briefly, we have some country information, and if the country has a national focal point, we will have their information in there, and some context on why the review is important, and then we have the guidance on how you can complete the questionnaire. And we've also compiled a list of definitions that we will use throughout the questionnaire, where you can refer to as well. And of course, these are the main tabs where we have birth registration, death registration, causes of death, and so on. So for those who have already completed, who worked on the questionnaire for the midterm, you would have seen that there are some similarities, but also there are some new things that are added to the questionnaire as well. Particularly, we try to streamline the process for countries. So we pre-filled the 2025 questionnaire with information data that countries shared with us from the midterm and the baseline as well. So let's say, for example, I'm looking at Cambodia here. So Cambodia shared with us during the midterm that for 2024 they have this number of births in the given year registered within 1 year of occurrence, and so on. So we've done this with all the data that they provided, and of course from 2020 onwards, we'll need countries to share updated data and so on. So these are the information that we're asking for, and we've also gone ahead to set up formulas that will automatically generate by results based on the data provided in table 1, and we pre-filled the tabs with international database where appropriate and where possible as well, to help countries with the completion process. Same, our colleague in Armenia will and causes of death, as well as vital statistics, where countries have already provided answers. We pre-fill that, and then we just need countries to provide the rest in these orange or yellow highlighted cells here. We've streamlined the implementation steps as well to cut down on the questions from the previous midterm questionnaire to help facilitate the completion process, and we've brought forth some questions on action areas that are already included in the regional action framework, and we wanted to help country highlight progress that are sometimes important, qualitative, that are not captured by the data, the quantitative data here as well. And some of the questions here will focus on key themes that we will highlight at the ministerial conference, which are resilience and inclusivity. So you will have seen some questions that focus on those key themes here as well. So that's the questionnaire. Let me just go back to the slide quickly. So obviously you will hear from our colleagues in Armenia in more details on how they've actually completed the questionnaire, but usually for country with a national focal point, they will be the central coordinator, and they will work with relevant ministries in whatever format that the government, the national arrangement has in place, typically through a national CRVS coordination mechanism. And there are development partners who have offered support to complete the questionnaire as well. I know for Cambodia, there's a couple of key development partners that are working with the government to help complete the questionnaire as well. And obviously, if possible, as Armenia will mention in a bit, it would be super helpful if your country is able to set up some sort of national level meeting with all the stakeholders, so that you can all go through the questionnaire together at certain points of the completion process. Supports that are available, we have compiled a list of frequently asked questions and answers, which I will show you right now. So what you can do is you can go to our website, which is getinthepicture.org, and search for 2025 review, where you can get all the latest information on the review, including the report once it's available. And you can click on question and answers here. It will lead you to this page where you can get to the document, of course, and then the document will be a live document. We will keep on updating it as new questions arises. So the questions can be something simple as who should be involved in the information gathering processes, to more detailed questions. For example, let's say your 2030 data will not be ready, so what should you do? Will not be ready by the deadline, so what should you do in this process, and so on. So please go ahead and have a look at the list and see if your answers if your questions have already been answered. But if not, feel free to reach out to us, of course. So going back to the presentation, and we will also organize online Q&A sessions such as this one, Stats Cafe, and as Petra mentioned, we'll have another one on the 2nd of September, so do join us if you have questions then. We also have a series of workshops, sub-regional meetings to walk through the questionnaire in some cases as well. We have had a couple in the past couple of weeks. one for Pacific and one for South Asia. And partners have also highlighted that they are able to help national focal points complete the questionnaire as well. So if you have any question on this, and if you also, let's say, want to know who is able to offer support in country, you feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to connect you in that case as well. So quite briefly on the timeline for the review and where we're at right now. So right now we're in August. If you look at the middle left, you'll see that we are conducting webinars and offer support to country in completing the questionnaire. And then we will validate the data and start drafting the report, the regional review report. And by January, we aim to have a draft report done and ready for feedbacks. And by March, of course, we'll submit the final version for editorial and present the final version at the ministerial conference in June, which will take place from the 24th to the 26th of June. So do look forward to that. These are just some key elements of the reports. I won't go through it in detail, but just to highlight that the report as well as the review and the theme of the ministerial conference will focus a little bit on the resilience and inclusivity theme, which were agreed upon by the regional steering group way back in 2013 and build upon it recently in the 2024 RSG regional steering group meeting as well. So that's all from me. I have Q&A here, but I think it will be prudent of us if we move on to information sharing by Marina first, and afterwards we'll see if we have question and answer on the review. So without further ado, let me stop sharing for now and invite Marina to share Armenia's experience in completing the questionnaire. Maria, are you ready? I'm just sharing my slide sharing your slide from my end.
Yes, I'm ready. I try to solve this problem. I'm online now on the phone.
It works really well, actually. The audio is yes. Perfect. Yeah, it works.
Dear colleagues, greetings to everyone. It is my pleasure to take part in this discussion to share Armenia's experience on progress in implementing the Regional Action Framework on Civil Registration and Vital Statistics. I am joined by my colleagues Diana from the Ministry of Health and Karine from the Vital Statistics. I'm joined by my, first of all, I would like to take this chance and express my gratitude for having participated in the 10th meeting of the Regional Steering Group for CRVS in Bangkok, organized by ESCAP. This was a very impressive and useful journey for me, and I am confident for all the other participants as well. Before producing the presentation, I would like to state that Armenia has a commitment to the 3 CRVS goals. First, universal civil registration of birth.
We'll need countries to share.
Vital events was established and is fully operational now in Armenia. Second, all individuals in Armenia are provided with legal documentation of civil registration of births, deaths, and other vital events. And accurate, complete
so these are the information that
statistics are produced based on registration records and are disseminated. Now I will gladly represent our experience on filling in the questionnaire. The internal timeline for completing the questionnaire for us was maximum 2 months. This deadline is reasonable in case when a few government agencies are involved in data collection. However, we managed to collect the data in a short time because we have a national multi-sectoral working group in regards of CRVS.
Generate
the well-coordinated work between members, agencies, as well as the use of different communication tools expedited the accomplishment of this task. The steps required to complete the questionnaire was as follows. The national focal point received the task from ESCAP, delivered it to other related agencies. Further, the representatives of those agencies, civil status act registration agency of the Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Health and Statistical Committee, worked in collaboration, dividing the work between competent departments and being in touch with each other when needed. Finally, the national focal point had the completed questionnaire and sent it to ESCAP. The approval process in case of communication between government agencies is limited to exchanging official letters or communicating through official emails of the representatives. We have an electronic communication system called Mulberry, which unites all government agencies in one system, making it very quick to exchange official letters. But it still usually takes 10-15 working days to review and to reply to letters sent through Mulberry, which must be signed either by head of those ministries or their deputies. In this case, we communicated by email to make the process quick. The identification of stakeholders was not a hard process due to the working group, as well as a division of representatives between government agencies and years of close interaction with each other, which has given clear understanding about who exactly is in charge of certain information.
Pre-fill that and then
Specific process of identification. It was already well known what exactly we need to do to accomplish the task. In the process to receiving inputs from stakeholders, we communicated through official emails and direct phone calls. Also, we had an offline meeting for discussion. Each responsible party filled in their part of the questionnaire. Then the national coordinator, who is the representative of the Ministry of Health of Republic of Armenia, finalized and sent it to ESCAP. The questionnaire consists of modules related to different agencies, so the key steps in processing data were these. We divided work, discussed and got all necessary information, including the necessary series of statistical data. As far as the later were the product of official statistics, the production of which includes also the data validation process, there was no need for additional validation of information. As Statistical Committee is the responsible agency for the implementation of the development, production, and dissemination of official statistics according to the statistical programs. Due to the well-organized interaction within the professional working group, we did not encounter serious challenges filling in the questionnaire. Specifically in this case, we did not have difficulties, but usually we resolve challenges through discussions and finding solutions. However, often we may encounter new challenges that appear due to the repeatedly changing world, which required trainings of our working group in order to stay up to date. We advise everyone to form relevant national working groups, clearly divide the work and responsibilities, interact with each other in a well-organized manner.
Some questions.
Participant will realize their share of responsibility and importance of their work to be done in a proper way. I think different kind of needed support would depend on the specifics of collaboration level of government institutions and agencies of the given country. So it
and we wanted to highlight
going to differ from one country to another. Below are same potential barriers which can constrain effective and timely data collection. Lack of coherent work between government agencies in overall. Lack of well-organized communication between the middle-tier workers of various government agencies, as the middle tier is important. Communicating only through official letters and accepting information received only that way, which certainly delays information change because often this type of communication takes weeks. The world is changing rapidly and we need to conform to new standards, best international experience, so it is highly recommended to actively engage in conference, online and offline trainings, both with the country and abroad. Addressing the above-mentioned problems would certainly expedite data collection and problem solving. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you so much, Marina, Diana, and team, and congratulations once again on completing the questionnaire very quickly. And I've learned a lot from your presentation. I hope others do as well. A few things to point out that I would like to conference, which to share as well, is that it's important to have all the stakeholder identify the key focal points. You have Marina, you have Diana, you have the whole team, the statistical committee as well. To have the focal point from each agency is identified, that's key. And also, communication methods, is important. If you rely, it depends on countries, of course, but having other informal channels or communication tools would certainly help with solving problems and identifying problem in the first place. As on those again, Marina, and great to see you again, of course. So now we're moving on to question and answer. If those of you in the meetings today, if you have any question particularly that you would like to ask our speaker or ask ESCAP, then please feel free to put them in the chat or raise your hand, and we'll certainly give you the floor. I am looking at the chat and I see that there's a question from Tanya, and she's asking, she's wondering if there are specific parts of the questionnaire that Marina would expect to be difficult for other countries to complete. So that's a great question, actually. So let's say, for example, if you're looking at the tab, you have birth registration, death registration, cause of death, implementation step, action areas, and specific questions as well. So what among those, which part do you think might be difficult for other countries to complete? So over to you, Marina.
I think it
to the slide quickly.
Level data collection. I can't imagine, because we have no problem with our information, getting our information.
Okay, thank you. Diana, you would like to add to that?
Dear colleagues, good morning, and thank you so much for organize this meeting, because it's very, very important for us. And I would like also thanks to our national, very, very great and high professional working group, Marine, Karine, and I would like also say that our national working group was created 10 years ago. It was 2013, and we have very
The questionnaire, but usually
and I would like also say that we must think with ESCAP, how can we improve our professional level, and for us is also very important when we can discuss a lot of questions with different countries and also presented our experience and also our problem, and also see the problem in different countries. And if it will be possible, I think for each country will be very, very important if you can organize the working training
and they
and we can also discuss a lot of questions and also show our experience, and maybe the different countries have more good experience. I think collaboration with you is very, very important, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Tanya, thank you so much. I'm very glad to see you again. And dear colleagues, I hope for our future collaboration. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Marina, as well, for answering the questions. And as you can see, collaboration is key. And I'm looking at the questionnaires that Armenia submitted now, and I see the progress that's made. Birth registration, death registration. It's very impressive to see that you've made it. This far and achieve the goals set out as well. So are there any questions from the floor? If there is, please do put them in the chat or raise your hand, and we'll certainly give you the opportunity to ask the question as well. If you typically through a national CRVS coordination. If not, we also have an opportunity after Tanya's presentation, which coming up next, and I'm sure you'll love it, and you'll able to ask a question on the review then as well, including the preparation of the ministerial conference. So without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Tanya.
Thank you so much, Roth, and thank you so much to our colleagues from Armenia. It's really wonderful to see the great progress, and also, I mean, huge congratulations for being the first country to submit the questionnaire. It's a great achievement, and we really, really appreciate you sharing your experience as well, and lots of really good lessons learned there. Of course, we very much look forward to seeing the questionnaires from the other countries as well, and I can see there's quite a few countries participating today, so that's wonderful. Yeah, I'll try and keep my presentation short, because if there are any questions to the questionnaire, I think that is really key for today. So please, as Roth mentioned, if any of the national focal points or others who are joining today have any questions on the questionnaire, please put them in the chat or put your hand up, and we will get a chance to hear from you. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the ministerial conference that we are planning for 24 to 26th of June 25. So just about 10 months away, not that anyone is counting. And Roth has already mentioned a few key elements. Of course, the responses to the questionnaire is really very, very key input to this ministerial conference, and we very much look forward to seeing those questionnaires and developing this new update on where we're at as a region, which will be really key for the ministerial conference. But Roth, if I could ask you to move to the next slide. well, this one you all know, the great birth certificate from the 2014 Ministerial Conference that committed countries to the Regional Action Framework for CRVS in Asia and the Pacific and announced the Asia-Pacific CRVS decade. We're coming to an end, and this is why we are doing this review that Roth mentioned, but it's also part of why we're doing the third Ministerial Conference on CRVS in June. So a little bit more on the conference. Next slide, please. So first of all, why are we doing it? Well, we really want to celebrate the great achievements. And I think Armenia is definitely one of the countries that have shown really impressive achievements over these 10 years. But we also know a lot of other countries have done amazing work. So we want to highlight those achievements and also reflect on that progress, as well as highlight, where the existing challenges. And part of those existing challenges is when it comes to inclusivity and also on establishing resilient systems. Our experience during COVID, I think many of us want to forget, but we did see a lot of systems really struggling during COVID. And this is part of the reason for the regional steering group's recommendation to really focus in on the resilience of systems. So this is one of the reasons for the Ministerial Conference. We need to identify how we can further support countries to make sure that we do get to this universal registration and documentation for all, as well as the production of vital statistics based on civil registration records. And as Roth mentioned, the responses we get to the questionnaires as well as
the questionnaire together
really do inform both our activities at ESCAP, but also a lot of our development partners' activities and support to CRVS.
At certain points of the...
It's really important that we have this chance to discuss this with the ministers and other key stakeholders in countries. So this is part of the reason for the Ministerial Conference in 2025. And then our regional steering group, as many of you will know, has recommended
reports that are available.
Is extended to align with the 2030 agenda. In order to kind of formalize that, we will hopefully at the Ministerial Conference, the countries will agree to formally extend that. Unfortunately, despite the great progress across the region, we still have many countries who are not at the universal registration level. So the extension, I think, from a technical point makes sense. But of course, we need the ministers to endorse this and to formally commit to the extension and to continue the focus on improving CRVS systems for another few years. So that is a kind of the main reasons for holding this ministerial conference. What we expect to get out of it, as some of you might remember, in 2021, when we had the second ministerial conference, we had a ministerial declaration. The expected outcome from the 2025 conference is also ministerial.
Right now,
assume that that will focus on the issues of the extension of the decade, what are the kind of key actions needed for resilience systems and inclusive systems, and then of course kind of recommitment from governments across the region. So that will be the expected kind of outcomes of the conference. Of course, the draft ministerial declaration will go into quite extensive consultations with countries in the beginning of next year. So many of you will probably be involved in that process, so that we are sure that the ministerial declaration will be a joint document that everyone feels strong ownership for and also have had a chance to provide inputs to. So that is part of the preparations for the ministerial conference will be to have extensive consultations on the draft ministerial declaration. And we already received some good inputs from our regional steering group on what kind of should be the key aspects of such a ministerial declaration. So that will be the key expected outcomes, except of course also it'll be nice to see everyone. get a chance to meet old friends and colleagues, but also meet new people and new development partners and so on to see how we can collaborate going forward as well. So that will be the more informal part of the ministerial conference. And to support that, we have a very draft program. Rolf, if I could ask you to move to the next slide, please. So what we know for sure right now is that the official part of the conference will be 24 to 26th of June here at the UN Conference Center in Bangkok. So that is kind of established fact. We also have been able to line up a very great number of co-organizers of the conference. These are our amazing development partners that we work closely with all the time, but they will also be co-organizers for the conference. And you can see the long list there. I'm not going to go through it because it's a fairly long list, but it really does show the great collaboration on this issue and also the great support there actually is for countries from development partners to this area of work. Formal invitations for the conference will not be sent out until next year. It's a standard procedure, but we are putting the dates out there, so put them in your calendar. And it would be great if you can start, making sure that the relevant people are aware of these dates. But we will send out invitations to seats of government, and then countries will decide on their delegations. We are, of course, hoping that we will have heads of government, ministers of the different ministries relevant for CRVS, and some of those are listed there. But of course, who each country send is a decision by the government of that country. So we look forward to seeing who we will see. If you're interested in who attended previous conferences, the participants list are actually available on our website. So that might be relevant if you want to have a look. We are also expecting very senior representatives of our co-organizers and other partner organizations, NGOs, and civil society will also participate. We will also invite the media, and we'll actually be doing some journalist training as well, like around the conference to ensure that we get great coverage of the event. And we're expecting something around 300 to 400 people. We don't know yet, but that's kind of the expectations, and that's around that number that we had for previous conferences on this topic as well. We'll be happy to welcome more if needed. So that's kind of the more formal part. In addition, we'll have all these other kind of things happening the same week to really make it an exciting opportunity for engaging with the stakeholders from partners and countries. The very first of those will be a Children, Youth and Civil Society Forum that will actually happen in March, so before the conference. And we will also be doing some consultations with this group before the actual civil society forum, and statements from these very important groups will be presented at the conference. The day before the actual ministerial conference, so on the 23rd of June, there will be some sub-regional forums. So there will be a forum for the Pacific, a forum for South Asia, and so on. And there will also be some sectoral forums. So the health people will have a chance to speak together, the statisticians will have a chance to speak together, and so on. So that will happen on the 23rd. That is very much in the planning phase. So nothing more concrete to share there, but we're planning something along those lines. So if you start looking at your calendars, it would also be great to be there on the 23rd. The official will be the senior official segment on the 24th and 25th of June. And then they will, review progress. There will be discussions on key actions, including on the topics of the inclusivity and the resilience parts. And they will also review the draft ministerial declaration, although that will have gone through multiple rounds of consultations with countries beforehand, as I mentioned. And then there will be a one-day ministerial segment. So this is the day where you really want your ministers to be there. So it'll be on the 26th of June. And we expect some great statements from governments and high-level panels and keynote speakers and all sorts of exciting people to be making strong statements about the importance of CRVS and the improvements that have happened over these 10 years. And then, of course, we expect the ministerial declaration to be adopted on that day. That whole week, we will have exhibition space, and we'll have side events. There'll probably be some receptions and all sorts of other things. We will send out calls for these things when we are closer to the date. So if your country or your partner or your organization would like to have an exhibition or do a side event or something, you can start thinking about it now. The formal calls will come closer to the date. And then we are planning to have a conference of donors related to CRVS on the Friday. That is also still very much on the drawing board, but it is a great opportunity to, well, take the outcomes, the ministerial declaration, and really trying to get some donors to support this going forward. So still very early days, but these are kind of the thinking that we have so far. And I have to really thank our regional steering group because they have provided excellent inputs to this. And this is very much a result of them as well as our Asia-Pacific CRVS partnerships. Great inputs and ideas. So we very much look forward to it. I think it'll be an exciting week for the CRVS community. Hopefully,
online Q&A sessions.
The importance of CRVS systems remain very high on the agenda across Asia and the Pacific, so we can reach that last mile towards our shared goals. So that's a quick overview. You'll probably hear a lot more about this over the next 10 months, but just so that you know that planning is happening, and we look forward to seeing you next year. So back to you, Roth.
Thank you so much, Tanya, and I hope everyone learned a bit on our progress so far, what we have planned. Very exciting, and looking forward to seeing a number of you, if not all of you, at the Ministerial Conference next year. So we're now moving on to the next part of the Stats Cafe today, which is Q&A. So any questions that you had previously on the review, as well as any question on the preparation for the ministerial conference, then please feel free to put them in the chat or raise your hand and we'll give you the floor. I'm looking at the participants in the meeting, and I see a couple of colleagues from Sri Lanka meetings, Bhutan. So if you would like to say a few words on where you're at in terms of your questionnaire completion, that will be fantastic as well. Or if you have any sort of specific comment and question on the ministerial conference, please feel free to do that as well. I see one there. I hope that's one. Hopefully, if you're here, we would like to hear from you. Kishanti as well.
Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Ray. We have already started to complete that. I am from Sri Lanka. First of all, I want to tell about me. I am Krishanti from Sri Lanka. We have already started to complete the questionnaire. If we have a problem, I will definitely inform you. Still, we are in working that questionnaire. Mrs. Ganepal also today, she has a workshop, not actually with the workshop conference, I think. If we have problems, we will contact you. Okay.
Thank you, Kishanti, and good to know that you're working closely with Ganapol as well, and hopefully she's able to, if she's able to attend the next the Stats Cafe on the 2nd September, I think that would be fantastic as well. We'll be in touch, and hopefully, yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, definitely we will attend the next meeting also. I think we can solve our problems in that meeting also.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Looking
Okay.
forward to it. Tanya, you have your hands up.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you, Roth. Yeah, I just mentioned that we had a few countries who actually were very kind to pilot the questionnaire, including Fiji and Bangladesh and the Philippines.
Malaysia as
So
well.
and yes, exactly. Sorry about that. So I'm assuming that those countries will be fairly close in completing the questionnaire. So we look forward to it. I think, of course, now Armenia was the first country. Now the game is on. Who is number 2? We look forward to seeing the next ones. But I don't know, maybe if our colleagues from the Philippines, if you could share where you're at with the questionnaire, that would be super helpful. Thank you.
All right. I think if you don't have any questions now, or if you have questions later on, please feel free to reach out to us. Of course, we'll always be here to support you in any way we can. Of course, it's a big undertaking with a lot of stakeholders, so it might take a bit more time than usual. We will also send out sort of a kind reminder email, but also including all of the relevant supports that we mentioned in this Stats Cafe, so that you have a written reference on where you can find those supports to help you complete your questionnaire as well. I see that there's a comment by Marine, to know if she can share some improvement of CRVS on this, and if you also Armenia within the last decade. I think that would be interesting. So if you're ready, you can certainly share that with us, Marine.
Yes, I'm ready, if it's interesting.
Yes, please go ahead, of course.
Since September 13,
offer support in country, you feel
14, a unified e-civil electronic management system, ECANC Armenian abbreviation, has been introduced in the Civil Status Acts Registration Agency of the Ministry of Justice of the Republic of Armenia, by means of which, as a result of entering the necessary information, the record of the Act of Civil Status is formed, on the basis of which the agency issued certificates and duplicates to applicants. Documents are generated by the agencies through the e-civil system with the help of the interoperability platform for the implementation of government infrastructures. They immediately become accessible and visible for a single extract of a person from the state register of population, considering the fact that Armenia has adopted a policy of switching to fully digital services, in the context of which the mentioned platform of ECANC was created. Since May 16, 2021, the new law on the Civil Status Act registration entered into force, regulating the civil registration sector. As a result, front and back offices were created. Front offices are all service centers carrying out registration of civil status acts, including hospitals. The latter carries out only state registration of birth and death. Based on the medical certificate of birth or death issued by the hospital, a birth of or death registration application is made on the spot. with the help of an electronic system, data is transmitted to the agency back office. Then, using the electronic system, the document is certified with the signature of the head of the agency and the seal of the head of the agency, and sent to the applicant's email address. Since January 15, 2024, electronic applications for the state registration of birth of a child of parents who are citizens of Republic of Armenia, and the state registration of the death of a citizen of the Republic of Armenia who died in the Republic of Armenia are accepted through the eServices.mod.am platform of digital services of the Ministry of Justice. Started from 2025, it is planned to establish an electronic application procedure for other civil status acts registration functions as well, especially state registration of marriage, state registration of divorce, registration of births that occurred using assisted reproductive technologies. That's all. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you so much, Marina, and congratulations on such a wonderful achievement. You know, it's starting out with law and regulations in place, and then you have your digitalization of the registration, and then you're moving on to interoperability and digitalization as of registration, as Tanya mentioned, on the spot, which is extremely impressive as well. So congratulations on that, and hope other colleagues in the meeting today can take a lot of good points from your sharing as well. Thank you.
I think digitalization is very helpful for other countries. It's very important.
Yeah, absolutely, and also the commitment by the people working on it as well, right? So I think these are super important to make big steps and big progress. So yeah, I think we're on time to close the meeting today. Thank you everyone for your time. Your June, which will take place with us. You know, your insights, Marina and Diana. You know, I hope everyone learned a lot from your sharing, and obviously looking forward to hearing from everyone in the room for the review, as well as any question on the 2025 Ministerial Conference also. So have a good rest of your day, and we look forward to seeing you maybe on the 2nd of September or maybe sometimes in the future. Take care.